To make it clear, I'm not playing the Fanteam game because there's a £1 million prize pool available. I just really like playing fantasy football. So guys, I've come out and said that I'm focusing on the Fanteam game as far as my Euro 2020 fantasy football goals are concerned. And just because Fanteam slid into my DMs and told me about the fact that there's a £1 million prize pool, that first place gets £200,000. None of that was the reason I played it. No, I played it because I preferred the rules to the Euro 2020 official fantasy game, of course. But the interesting thing about the Euro 2020 Fanteam game is it's a lot more, in my eyes, like the FPL game. And hopefully that means I can use similar strategies that I do in the FPL game to succeed in this. And even if I win some of that money, it could be £100. That's a decent summer to me. So if you guys want to be in with a chance of winning part of that £1 million prize pool, then do use the link in the description down below and sign up. It's only for new sign-ups, unfortunately, but sign up for Fanteam and potentially you could be in with a chance of winning a free ticket to this £1 million prize pool game. And in the comments down below, make sure to leave your username and I'll be getting in touch with Fanteam Thursday night to try and make sure that you guys get those free tickets. So ladies and gentlemen, here is the team that I'm going to be using to try and win myself a massive prize to make my summer just that little bit special. And we're going to start off as always with the goalkeepers and defence. And caveat, like my previous video which I put out yesterday, I don't know that much about European fantasy football, but hopefully I get lucky. And hopefully that luck starts with Donnarumma in goal, because Donnarumma at £6 million I still think is a decent shout in Group A, where I think Italy's defence, one, is pretty strong, and two, they haven't got any really tough opponents, although I do fancy Turkey to do well in this tournament. I'm hoping him and Spinazzola can do well in that Italian defence and pick me up some clean sheet points. Spinazzola coming in at 5.5 million. He is my second most expensive defender alongside John Stones. Now, because the Fanteam game doesn't have your limitless and your wild card, and also it doesn't have manual substitutions, you can see my bench is probably significantly weaker than the bench is in the official game. We'll get onto that in a bit, but it also means we want strong options in our starting 11, and I think Stones is nailed on in that England side and has some decent threat from set pieces to maybe pop up with a goal or two, although we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if James Ward-Prowse was going, I'll be even more sure of Stones getting some attacking returns, but unfortunately he isn't. We then got Alaba, who is a defender in the Fanteam game, but at 5 million I feel like he's a decent shout, and I think those three can start pretty much every game. And then we've got a player that I seem to put into my side just to give me a really difficult player's name to say. Mahaley at 4.5 million for Denmark. I really think he is a decent shout as a cheap defender in this game. Moving on to the midfield, and there's some similar names in this team to my official games team, and that's Wijnaldum at 7 million. I think that's a steal, as well as Depay at 8.5 million. I almost think he is a must-have in the Fanteam game at that price because he is a captaincy shout in each game week in the group stages. And then we've got, for the first game week, Marcel Sabitzer from Austria standing in at 5.5 million. We're hoping he can show some of the form that he comes out of the Bundesliga with, and we think that's a pretty strong midfield. But to be honest, there's not any really expensive players in there like Kevin De Bruyne, and that's because up front we have gone seriously heavy with the likes of Romelu Lukaku, Harry Kane and Mbappe. At 13 million for Mbappe, at 13.5 for Kane. Two of the most expensive strikers in the game, but I think Kane has a decent group. He's not in my official games team because of that first fixture against Croatia, but I do really like the next two fixtures. And Mbappe, although he is in the group of death, I think France are a very strong team in this. Potentially you could look at Ronaldo, but I think if I'm going to pick a player from that group of death, Mbappe is just naturally the choice to go with. And then Lukaku does do everything for Belgium, leading that line, and I'm very hopeful for some points for him. Captaincy in this game week, not too sure about, to be honest. It's between the likes of Lukaku, Depay and Kane. Probably not on Mbappe, just in case Germany do very good defensive performance. And then, of course, we have the bench. Now, no manual substitution, so these players are going to come in if any of my starting 11 don't start. And Hradecky at 4 million just seems like the perfect choice for a bench keeper. Hradecky is a great keeper himself, although I don't think Finland will do that well in this tournament. We then got Chanaloglu. No, I said that wrong. I've heard it said before. I just can't get my tongue around it, but never mind. He plays for Turkey. He is one of their most creative players, and at 5.5 million, he can come in on game weeks where Turkey don't have Italy. And then Malinovsky against Netherlands, again, a player that could potentially play in a game week where they don't have Netherlands. And then finally Selic at 4 million, another Turkey defender. We've gotten quite heavy on Turkey, but that's because I think there's some good value there. I think at 4 million, again, perfect bench defender who, if necessary, and is starting for Turkey, could be a decent shout for my starting 11. The reason I've gone with this side is I feel like Kane, Lukaku and Depay, as well as Mbappe for at least one match day, are all decent shouts for captaincy, and hopefully with such big hitters up front, we should be looking at lots of points. Now, the strikers don't get as many points as midfielders for goals, but I think where the difference here is between this game and the Premier League game is, apart from maybe the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, I don't really see any midfielders that are really worth the punt on with a big amount of my budget. The player I would like to have in this side, but I can't have 4 strikers, is Cristiano Ronaldo, because I feel like he could still do well, although I think Portugal are being a bit overrated going into this tournament. Just doesn't seem to completely gel for them. But the likes of Diogo Jota and maybe Bernardo Silva would be good shouts. And of course, I could bring him in just for match day 1, but then I'd probably be looking to take him out after their game against Hungary for the likes of an Mbappe or a Germany player once I've seen them in the tournament proper. Ideally, I'd like to go into game week 3 without having used the transfer, but that is probably wishful thinking, but we'll see how game week 1 goes. And of course, I will try and get an update for you guys on how that is going for me when game week 1 starts to come to an end. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. So if you have enjoyed this video and you're excited for the £1 million prize pool fan team game, please do hit that like button, hit subscribe and hit that notification bell for the fan team £1 million prize pool game. Also, make sure to leave in the comments down below your team and sign up if you want to potentially win a free entry into this game and then maybe make a lot of money out of it. Also, Friday morning, I'm going to try and go through all of my comments on this video and the video that I made yesterday and hopefully help you guys with your European fantasy football decisions. So make sure to get involved in the comments down below. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.